Hi there, I'm Ben, an RV technician here at Lichtsinn RV. We're going to be doing orientation on our Travato model, so we're going to be going through the whole thing today. We're going to start inside. And starting inside, we're just kind of going to make our way around. We're going to make a horseshoe, then we'll come back up front, we'll go through the front stuff, we'll go outside and go through all the outside stuff. So starting with in here, you do have full storage above the kitchen, up here. All of your cabinets up here do have identification stickers that are in the corners. Also up here we do have a black bag. This is all your manuals, everything you need for this unit. So to start with, in the black bag we have a copy of your window stickers. So on this side are all of your options. On the back side of that, you're going to have all of your heights, lengths, widths. You'll have all of your tank sizes. So LP 6 gallons, your gray is 13, black is 13, fresh water is 23, and fuel is 24. So anytime you're looking for any specs or anything for your unit, refer to these sheets. That'll help you out a lot. Alright, other thing in the black bag, we have our manuals. So we have an operator's manual. So the operator manual is going to help you operate pretty much everything in the coach. Pretty much what we're going to go through today. Also, back here in section 10 in this manual is a maintenance chart. Just going to help you on when to check things. You know, when to check batteries, when to check, you know, seals, any of that stuff. It's going to tell you before it's used, weekly, monthly, 3 months, 6 months, yearly. Good reference, good starting point on, you know, keeping up on some of that stuff. The other manual is your operator's manual. This is every manual for every single thing in this coach. So the manual that came with the microwave, they just take it and they put it in binder form. Make it really easy to find things. It is all subcategorized in the front. So anytime you have questions, anything, refer to your manuals. They're a good source to find any information out. Then you do also have a DVD for your own generator. And we also have your Dodge manual in there. So anything to do with the chassis, refer to your Dodge manual. So that's the black bag. Cabinets up here are just positive pressure, so just push that, release this. You can open it. When you do travel, push them in to lock them. Underneath the cabinet here we have two lights. They actually have switches right on the light itself. And that's for anything above the galley. On the galley here, around the corner here, there is a switch. And that is for the light right above your driver's seat and passenger seat. There is two positions for that light. Right now we're on high. The middle is off, and then up is going to be low position. So it just gives you some, you know, different choices on lighting. Right beside that, there are two USB ports for charging. We do have a pull-out cutting board here. That does pull all the way out. You can take it wherever you want to, or it can stay in place there. Make sure when you do travel that it goes all the way in, and there is a heavy-duty latch that holds it in place. Down below that is our convection microwave from High Point. Alright, really easy to use. So up on top here we have a couple features. You have convection, grill, and roast. So to use convection, we're going to push the convection button. Inside here, you're going to have a convection rack. So this rack here is strictly for the convection part of this microwave. We do have, if we have the high side up, that's kind of like a high broil. Flip it over, it's kind of like normal cooking, just your normal cooking rack there. And again, this rack can only be used on the convection side, not microwave side. So once we have that rack set like we want, close the door. You already pushed convection. Now your temperatures are right here in your numbers. So if you want 300, push 300, push start. Now it's going to preheat to 300. You'll see these lights start lighting up as it preheats. Once it gets to 300, put your food in, cook like you would at home. Anytime I push stop and clear, we are always in microwave mode. So it's kind of important. A lot of people don't store this rack in here. They'll store it somewhere else for that reason. And the reason is because if I would walk by and hit 1, it's actually 1 minute. So your microwave would start up. So just a good tip, don't store that in there when traveling or anytime unless you're going to use it. All right, so again, the microwave is 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 4, 5 as you go down. On the start button, you can add 30 seconds at a time. So just keep pushing it to add 30 seconds. You do have your normal presets with popcorn, potato, beverages up on top there. Here we have the power level. So I can take the power level down to whatever we need. You have defrost button also there. Down below the numbers, we can set the clock here on the left side. You have a kitchen timer on the right side. So convection oven, really nice to use. Good space saver. All right, down below that we have storage drawer here. A couple things in here. First of all, you have your drinking water filter, which filters all the cold water coming out of the kitchen faucet. And that I will show you coming up. It's actually in the cubby underneath the bed is where that goes. All right, here we have a remote for your exhaust fan on the ceiling out here in the galley. Matter of just pushing power. That does automatically open up. This technically is a thermostat for your fan. So we can set temperatures. You can control fan speeds here. So by setting the temperature on here, you're setting it when to open and when to close. So we'll automatically open if it gets over that temperature, automatically closes once it comes under that temperature. It does come with a mounting bracket. You can hang that wherever you want to. All right. In here is your LP fitting. It's for your portable LP or your LP grill outside. And I'll show you that fitting when we go outside. This is just the male fitting for that port outside. We have a TV remote for the Insignia TV. And then you have a Jensen remote for the Jensen DVD CD player. Snap back in. Another storage drawer underneath that. Goes down low. You do have a heating vent up front here. There also is more heating vents as we go back. On the floor down here, these two tabs here, we're going to pull up, lift. Gives you a little bit more storage underneath the floor. All right, fridge-wise, you're going to pull up, pull open, close. Does have a travel latch right here. This is a 110 fridge, but it will automatically change over to 12 volt too if it doesn't sense that it has 110 volts. Also inside here, in the back on the left side here, there is a temperature adjustment that we can adjust the temperature of the fridge, which is right back there. So anytime you travel, just make sure you put that travel latch on. It'll save you from having your door swing open, get damaged at all. Right up on top of the galley here, we have, all right, stovetop. Lift up on that. Really easy to use. There's one little dot right here at the top. So that's where we're going to set everything to. All right, so if we want to light this, we're going to turn it to light, which is just that little lightning looking thing there. We're going to push in, and then we're going to hit the sparker. Once it lights, hold this down for another 3 seconds. We're just warming a thermocouple up, which tells it that it has a flame going, and that's why you want to hold it for that 3 seconds. Then after that point, you can adjust it down to a simmer or up to that high flame. Identical with this other one. And if you do use this a lot and it is hot, wait till it cools down before we bring the glass down. Behind that, we do have a steel shade back there, which is just controlled with the rope on this side. Just release, pull it to the right side to lock it in place. Pull it back up, lock it in place, and then we do have that string holder here on the right side. All right, on your windows, you're just going to pull up the release latch. Window does open, screen slides with it also too if you want it to. Pull it back, lock it in place. Okay, moving back, we do have full storage up here above the bed also. Up here we do have a screen for the back door. Works just with buttons. Just snaps all the way around. It does have a zipper in the middle so you can access it, get in and out from there. Those. Right on your bed, underneath both sides of your bed, you do have the Froley system. Really nice system, makes it a lot more comfortable to sleep on these beds. Back in the back side here, we do have head lift for the bed. All we're gonna do is pull all the way up, it releases it, and as we pull up, you'll hear clicks. That's setting the tilt that we want our head to be at. And again, just pull all the way up, releases it. There is a little bit of storage right beside your bed. That's kind of a hidden storage, which is right down there for cell phones, anything small that you want to put back down there. Up above that, it does give you some USB ports here for charging. Up here, we do have your reading light. If you push it once, it turns into a night light. And then if we hold it, it turns into a normal reading light. That is adjustable, you can put that wherever you want to. Back on the window here, this window works identical to the one up front, except this one does have an MCD shade. Which on the back of the MCD shade here, it does have a little bit of Velcro strip that will attach right down here, which just makes it a little tighter to the window so people can't see in or anything. Okay, down below here, we do have an access port that is down below the driver's side under the bed. A couple things we have under here. So we have a 12-volt water pump is under here. Right to the left of that, the first valve that you see right there is actually for your suction hose. Now this suction hose is for winterizing. So what we're going to do to winterize, under here you also have a bypass valve for the Truma, which is the next valve over. So we're going to face that straight up. That technically bypasses the Truma. And then there's a little yellow handle back there. It's hard to see right now, but the yellow handle, pull up on it, that will drain your Truma. Then after you've bypassed the Truma and drained it, now we can switch this into the siphon. So just face it towards the hose. Put this hose in RV antifreeze. And then what we're gonna do is turn your 12-volt water pump on. And then go to every faucet and toilet and everything and just pump it until you got pink coming out from the RV antifreeze. Once you do that, shut it off. Dump a little bit more down the traps of each faucet and sink and everything. And then you're pretty much winterized. All right, and that just has this access door on the front here. Has two clips. Just gotta line those up and clip it in place. Another heat vent down low here. All right, moving back a little bit. Underneath here we do have subwoofer speaker. That's part of your rear entertainment. Another heat vent. There is a 110 plug-in under here also. Then we have a return air here that's just allowing heat and everything else to get down to the Truma so it can breathe. All right, moving back. You do have your door here for your bathroom, which does have just two snaps. Undo the snaps, both sides. Use the magnet in the middle. Just come across, magnet in the middle. Just make sure we put these straps back on before we travel. Otherwise your doors will be banging open and closed as you travel. Just like that. Okay, in the bathroom here. So to start with here, we do have the medicine cabinet up high. Just have the handle on the bottom, just pull that open. Gives you a little bit of storage in the bathroom. Down below that, this is actually the light switch for the bathroom. So that's going to control your ceiling light. Next to that is your shower faucet. So the further I turn that up, the hotter it gets. On your shower head up here, you can control your sprays here, different kinds of sprays. And then this will control actually the flow of water out. This is important because you're limited to the amount of the water that you have on board. So, I mean, that's going to help you control or minimize the use of water. So a lot of times we say take military showers, set your temperature once, now control it with this switch instead of on and off every time you want to change the temperature of your shower. Down here, this flips open to your bathroom faucet to swivel over. You're going to pull out on this. Towards me is cold, back toward the back is hot. Let the water run in here. When you're done, swivel that back in, tip it up to dump it. There is a little stopper in the bottom that will plug the actual drain off. Toilet wise, all right, the toilet's actually ran on a foot pedal on the right side here. So what it's going to be, if I barely push that foot pedal, it's going to fill the bowl up, and if I fully depress that foot pedal, it drops it down the black tank. You do have a cleaning sprayer here. The cleaning sprayer only works if you have that foot pedal down. So if you don't have the foot pedal down, you won't get any water out of the sprayer. Alright. Shower drain is actually under this little mat that they send with you. You will want to take the mat out every time you take a shower, otherwise it creates like a suction against that drain, won't let it drain out. On the back door here, you do have a towel bar up high, and this is closed, easy access. And then we do have your toilet paper holder here, which that just goes through the roll, clips in place, and then every time you open and close it, it actually feeds you toilet paper out. Also have a safety chain here. That's just when we're shut, we can put a safety chain on. It's just kind of secondary security pretty much. Alright, you do have storage here, which this is actually your closet. It's got the hanging rod actually up high in there. We do also have some curtains back here. This is actually your blackout curtains for your passenger side sliding door. That's what those are for. More storage underneath. Full extension drawers. All of these come with a free sample of AquaChem. AquaChem is a black tank deodorizer and sanitizer. So anytime we're using these systems, we want to put some kind of chemical down there. Helps break down things, keeps the smells and everything away. We sell here porta packs. I prefer porta packs. They're less messy. Looks like a dishwasher tablet. Just toss one down, add a gallon of water with it. You're done. All right, more storage all the way down, and more below that. Okay, coming in back into the bedroom here on the passenger side. All right, full storage up above, just like on the other side. Full storage up there. All right, we do have the same reading light above here. Again, push it once, it's a night light. Hold it, becomes a reading light. All right, first thing up top, we have your solar panel control. Not a lot you can do with this. This is more just a readout, just for your benefit to see what it's giving you. So right now it's telling us voltage. If I push this top button, now it's gonna tell us amps. Push it again, it's gonna tell us amp hours. So again, just a readout, just kind of showing you what the solar panel is doing. The next button below that is a battery type button. Don't ever mess with that unless you're gonna change your batteries to something different than what we have on board. All right, below that it's our one place panel. So on the right side here is actually where we start and stop our generator. So you do have a meter button on the bottom, which is gonna bring up the meter, tells you your hours. So on this generator, do your first oil change at 20 hours, and then every 50 hours after that, you'll want to do an oil change, or once a year, whichever one comes first. They also want you to exercise this generator at least 2 hours a month with a 50% load. So if you're going to be using it, get it out there, run that generator, because the more we run these generators, the better they're going to run for you, and definitely keep up on your maintenance. I mean, really stick to those hours on the generator, or watching the hours on the generator, or, you know, once a year, just make a plan, get the oil out of there and change it. How we start it, we're going to push the stop button, push the start button until you see it say auto start. So what this is doing right now, this is a 15-second pre-start. So it's pretty much priming that generator, getting the fuel into it, and then after 15 seconds it will start. Okay, down below that is we have battery levels. So this is going to show us our chassis battery levels and our house battery levels. So on here, just refer to the voltage. Don't really look at the bars. The bars will never ever show full. So as long as you see, you know, 12.8 is a saturated battery, fully charged saturated battery. You ever see these numbers start dropping down, you know, towards that 11, in the 11s, we're going to want to get some power back into them. You know, start your generator, start your engine, get plugged in, just get power back into them. Next one over is tank levels. So this is going to show you your freshwater tank, your LP gas tank, your gray tank, and your black tank. All of them go up by thirds, besides the LP goes up by quarters. They want you a little more precise on your LP so you know how much you have on board. Next one over is a water pump switch. So that's how we turn water on in the coach if we're not hooked up to an outside water source. So anytime you want to pull fresh water out of your freshwater tank, we have to have the pump running. We can turn it on here, or I'll show you the other place that we can turn it on. Next switch over is an LP switch. So this controls all LP in the coach. You do have a master switch outside. This is a secondary switch. So both switches do have to be on to get LP to the coach. But if we shut either switch off, it will actually shut all LP off to the whole coach. So that's kind of there for an emergency. Say we have a fire or we smell a leak, I can hit that really quick in here and shut it off. Alright, this next little thing down below that is actually for your Truma. That is actually where the thermostat senses the room temperature. So again, we don't ever want to block anything up here, because if I start blocking this, you're going to really change the actual efficiency of it and being able to read the room temperature. Next one over is the power control system. So this is the energy management system. What this is doing is kind of looking out for you. It's there so you're not tripping breakers, pretty much, is what it's there for. So right now it's telling us we're on a 30 amp service, because we're plugged into 30 amps. If I would start the generator, it would light up generator. Or if I plug into 20, you'll get 20 amps there. What it's doing is it says water heater, refrigerator, AC over here. It's going to actually start shutting those things down if we start drawing too many amps. Because if I would try running my refrigerator, AC, water heater, a bunch of stuff at the same time, we're probably going to draw more than 30 amps. So what it's going to do, it's going to shut the water heater off first. It's going to shut it down for as long as it needs to let that voltage come back down into normal range. Once it comes back down into normal range, it's going to turn it back on. Which is nice, because it's just watching out for you. Again, if you didn't have that, it would probably trip a breaker. Your main breaker would trip because you just overamped it. But now this is taking care of that for you. It also shows you how many amps you're drawing on the left side there. All right, down below that, we have two light switches. One is for the bedroom, the other one's for above the galley. All right, next one over is your Truma. So really easy to use, actually. So push that center button, brings up all my controls here. So this first one that's blinking on the left side there is actually going to be your room thermostat. So if I push that center button on it, now it's going to bring it up. It's going to say off right now. Now I can take it and I can set my thermostat to whatever temperature I want to. So say you wanted it at 75, you'd leave it at 75, push the middle button. Now that's going to set your room temperature to 75. What we're going to do is turn this knob. It's going to take us to our next setting, which is actually going to be your water heater temperature-wise. Still coming out of the Truma. It's an on-demand water heater, so it should have a constant supply of hot water for you. But in here, we set how hot we want it. You have Eco, which is the most economical way to run your water heater. We have hot, or we have boost. What the difference is, the Eco is just, using the minimum that it has to. Hot is just going to maintain your hot temperatures, and then boost, what that's going to be is boost actually takes priority over heat. So if you put it on boost, that means your hot water is taking priority over your heating system in here, which is fine. If you're going to do showers, any of that stuff, you might want to put it on boost just so we can keep up. Otherwise, normal use, you can use Eco, we can use hot. Eco's more for, hand washing, any of that stuff. It probably is not going to keep up when you're taking showers, so we're going to want to turn that up to hot or boost. So the next one over is going to be power source. This is how we're going to heat our water. We either can heat it with gas or electric. So your first setting is gas. Gas is your most efficient way to heat the water or to heat your coach. If we get too cold, you are going to either have to use both gas and electric or just gas. So now, if I go into that one again, you have gas. Next one is mix one. What that's going to be is pretty much like a 75% gas and then 25% electric. What we're actually doing, we're using a lower wattage element in that water heater. So the gas will take priority and heat your water. The electric's there, kind of secondary, kind of warming that up for you. Next one is mix 2. That's pretty much going to start using a higher wattage element now in that water heater, or in the Truma, and 50% gas. So they're both doing about the same on that. Next one over is just going to be electric 1. Put it on electric 1, it's going to be strictly electric. Now we're using that lower wattage element. Again, this is in normal temperatures outside, keep up with, you know, hand washing, stuff like that, not taking showers or any of that. Electric 2 is what you're going to want to be on, you know, for a little higher use. So electric 2 would be that higher element. Definitely will keep up a little better. But then again, you know, if you have a high demand for water or heat or cold outside, you know, get that gas involved. Gas is the best way to heat this. You know, we definitely want us to use that gas to do a lot of this stuff. All right. Next setting over is your fan. So that's just your blower fan. And what that's for is we have Eco, which again is just the most efficient way to use your fan. Or you have High, which is just a high blower fan. It's always going to blow. Then if I come back down here, we can set our clock in the bottom, and it's also a setback thermostat too. So we can set schedules up when we want this to come on, what temperatures we want at a certain time, just like you have in your house, one of those setback thermostats. And then down in the bottom here, we have the settings. There are a ton of settings in there that can be changed. They recommend you leave the settings kind of as they are. You can go through them and, you know, check them. Maybe you want to change them a little bit, but usually they're set pretty good the way they are. All right, next switch to that is our holding tank heaters. So these are 12 volt pads on the bottom of our gray tanks, black tanks, and then also on our drainage system. Anytime you get in freezing conditions, turn that off. It's gonna help keep those tanks thawed out, make sure stuff doesn't freeze in there and break. This is a 12 volt heating pad, so it's running strictly off of your batteries. So just be cautious when you are using that. If you are dry camping or sitting somewhere and we have those on, it is going to be a battery draw. So just be careful on those. Watch your battery level. Another set of USB ports here. So for charging any of that stuff there. We have the same bed lift as this side. Just pull up to release and then let it click. We'll set your bed lift there. All right, down below here. All right, so there's a little hole here on a panel. We're gonna pull that out. This is gonna be all of your 110 volt breakers. Everything is labeled on the left side. They work just like the breakers you'd have at home. They're gonna trip. You're gonna trip them back on to reset them. So those are gonna be anything that strictly runs off 110 volt. It's gonna be your ACs, your plugins, you know, anything that has to be ran off 110. Now above that, pull this top panel off, the little brown panel. This is all of your 12 volt fuses. So all of the 12 volt fuses are there. On the back of this panel, we'll actually label what they all go to. If you do have a fuse that's blown, this system's kind of next. It actually will put a red light up if that fuse is blown, which kind of eliminates you to carrying a tester with you or anything. So if you see a red light blown, you know that fuse is blown. Pull the fuse out, replace it. If it keeps blowing, take it to your service dealer, get it checked out. There's a reason it's blowing. All right, right beside that is your LP detector. So down here, right beside that 12 volt panel is LP detector. So that's for your liquid propane. There's a test button on it. Really loud. You hear that go off, you know, get out of your coach, leave your door open, go outside and shut your LP off. Then take it to the dealer, figure out why it's going off. A couple things about this is I do know hairspray. There are some, you know, aerosol sprays that will make this go off. So if you're doing something like that, you know, let it clear, see if it continues to go off. But if you're not doing anything out of the ordinary, then shut your LP off, take it to a dealer, get it checked out. The LP detector is actually hardwired into your coach batteries. So as long as your batteries are on in your coach, that detector is going to be on. Up front, above the galley, we do have a smoke detector, which is right here. Which if I flip that open, just has a 9 volt battery with a test button right on the middle. And then we have a carbon monoxide detector up front, which again, test button in the middle. This one we're going to just twist. It's going to pop down 3 AA batteries. Make sure you're checking your batteries often. You know, replace them yearly, but check them off and make sure they are working. Those are important. All right, above me here is your AC. All of our controls are right here on the AC. So the first control up front is going to control what kind of source we want, or what we want coming. So first click over is going to be low fan. Then we have low fan again. We have high fan, low cool, high cool. So the low and high fan, all they strictly are is just turning that fan on. So that blower fan is going to run all the time. The low and high cool are if you want it to actually cool then. On this side, we have a thermostat. We're going to set it to the arrow that's this way. And that's pretty much just the more red you see facing this way or the more blue you see facing towards me, that's hotter and colder. All depends on the room temperature that you want it to be. Each side here we have filters. If you ever see those getting dirty, dusty, any of that stuff, we're going to pull those down, clean them, put them back up. There's two little tabs right here on the side. Just pull, that'll pop down, you can take the filter down. We can rinse it off, we can blow it out with air. If you do rinse it off, let them dry before you put it back up, just so we get rid of that moisture. Over here we have directional, so we can take that air and either focus it further down or we can focus it further up on the ceiling. Just kind of a preference thing where you want your air blowing. Okay, over here on the right side, we have your Jensen DVD CD player. Power button on the left. Play pause next to that, and that's for DVDs, CDs. You have tuning here. Fast forward, back. Volume buttons here. Just knob, turn it righty, increase the volume, go left, decrease the volume. Brightness here is actually going to be for the back screen. So if I go up, now I shut all the lights off. Now it's kind of like a dimmer. So we can choose how bright we want that screen to be. You have your hours, minutes for setting clocks, alarms, any of that stuff. Eject button there, eject CDs or DVDs. ASPS or scans. And then you have set alarm and on and off. There are two kinds of alarms on here. You have a normal alarm. Say you want to get up at 7, set it for 7. Or we have a sleep timer. So we can set that sleep timer for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, or an hour. And then this system's going to shut down after that allowed time. Next one over are going to be your speaker controls. So you have A, B, and C. The only two used on this coach are A and C. B is not used. So A is going to be interior speakers. C will be your exterior speakers. And again, C, you just want, if you're camping, you know, be courteous to your neighbors. Shut the outside speakers off at night. Next over is an auxiliary port and then a USB port. So again, if we want to hook anything up, we can, you know, we can stream Netflix, we can do any of that stuff to the TV through the system if we want to. Up above that is all your presets. And again, just hold a preset, we'll set it to that preset. Up here's your source button. That's going to take you through your Bluetooth options, your auxiliary ports, coaxial, every option that this CD DVD player offers. Menu button is going to take you through your bass, your trebles, also help you get into Bluetooth. And then the enter button is how we select things. All right, up underneath here, on the left side here, first thing we have is a booster plate. There is a little button right on this side here. You'll see that green light there. The button actually controls your king jack antenna. So that's how we get off-air antenna. It actually, if you go right back up front by your carbon monoxide detector, that is your king jack antenna. It's a stationary antenna. All we can do is rotate. There's no cranking up, no cranking down. We're going to push this button on the side, and then we're just going to rotate. And what we're trying to do, blue lights here. We're trying to get as many blue lights as we possibly can. That's your signal meter. So once you get that set to as many blue lights as you possibly can, then we need to go to the TV. And what we're going to do, alright, anytime we switch locations, we have to do a channel search. So again, set your antenna, get as many blue lights as you possibly can. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go to the menu button on your remote. We're going to come across here to where it says channels, press enter, and then come down to auto channel search. Press enter. And now in here we can do from the antenna, which again is that king jack antenna on your roof, cable from the wall. So if the resort you're staying at offers cable, then what we do is we search for their cable stations after we hook up to it outside. And then cable from the satellite box, you won't use that, not used anymore. So if you want antenna, just click on that. And now it's gonna search for whatever digital channels it can find in that area. If you're in a really remote area, you might not find any, or you might find some. If they are coming in a little staticky, go up and just adjust your antenna a little bit, kind of fine tune that. Okay, the other thing on your king jack antenna is we have an attenuator. So what that is we can actually take that signal and we can dampen it down. So it's only picking up the strongest channels coming in. None of those little fuzzy ones or the ones you can't get in all the way. Here on the left side, there is an on-off switch. All that's gonna do is shut the lights off on here. Your TV's still gonna work, it just shuts the light off. They're really bright at night, so they give you a disconnect for those. The only way to shut power off to this is by hitting that button by that green light up above your TV there. Okay, the other things we do have in here are, so we do have a 110 volt plug in here. And again, it's for, you know, satellite receivers, anything you want to put up here and plug in. Over here is an HDMI port. This one runs directly to the TV. And then we have a TV disconnect here. Since we have a 12 volt TV, they actually give you a disconnect. And that disconnect, what it's going to do is actually shut all power off to the TV. Because even though we hit the power button on the TV, there's still computers, still, you know, electronics running in that TV, which can be a power drain. So again, managing batteries, dry camping, gives you a little disconnect for that. TV wise, there is a release. So this little tether that's hanging down, pull it. The TV's now going to swivel up, and then you can position that wherever you want to. This does give you a little access to having it outside, which is really nice. One main thing we want to do with this TV, before we travel, we want to push it back and make sure you hear that clip and just kind of pull on it a little bit. Make sure it is latched in place. Last thing you want is this to slide or come flying out while you're traveling. All right, so on the bed wise, how we make this into a full bed. So under here, 2 bars slide out. Come across, there's a little place for that to sit. One there. And then one in the back here. So we slide those across. And then in your table, you have a double post table here. What we're actually gonna do is there's 2 grooves on the back side here. We're gonna take those 2 grooves and hook them onto the bar that's back here. Hook that on, and then we use these 2 filler cushions that it comes with. And we're gonna put those down the middle. Just like that, here and here. And that's really all there is to it. It's pretty easy to make this bed up. Then when you're gonna do it, just reverse it, take your table off, store it back down there. There is one clip on the top of your table that holds it in place. Put the bars back in, and you're done. Your table legs are actually stored underneath here. Just lift up. It's got gas struts on it that hold it up. We have your 3rd bar here, which is your last bar that goes here. So that's where we store that, and that goes here. And then that again is where that table hooks onto. And that's just gonna keep it from sliding. Put that back in place. We have our 2 table legs here, which go in these 2 ports on the floor. And then that table actually sits right on top of those. And we do have quite a bit of storage underneath that bed, which is nice. Blankets, anything you want to put down there. A lot of storage under there. And again, on the passenger side, you do have the Froley system underneath also. All right, so moving forward here, we do have your pull-out workstation. So the workstation, we're gonna lift up, straight over, and that's it. When you are gonna put it away, lift up, keep a hold of it because it will slam down if you don't. Put it down, close, and you're done. You do have an assist handle here to help get in and out. All right, so now up above here, and these black bags are actually gonna be all of your windshield, driver, and passenger door shades. So windshield one just covers that whole windshield. Passenger ones have a couple magnets on it that hold it into place. Really easy to do. Get that blackout at night so you can still utilize your front chairs. No one can see in. Right up front here. Okay, so for rotating chairs, what it is you're gonna have 2 levers. So right here in the corner of your chairs. The one closest to the center on the passenger side is actually gonna be the release for swivel. So you wanna make sure that chair is all the way forward, and then we can swivel it around. If you go all the way around, it will lock into place. You will have to pull that release again. Then once you come all the way back, then we can actually pull the center lever here and bring it back. Open up a little bit more space, then you can utilize your workstation. Any of that there. The other lever on the outside towards the door, if we have the chair spun around, is actually for your backrest. So that's how we set the backrest to where we want it. The crank beside that is actually going to be tipping your chair forward or backwards. And then this one here is actually going to be lifting the back of your chair up. So we have a couple adjustments there for where we want to go. And then up here is actually your lumbar support. So you have a little bit of adjustment for the lumbar. Pull that release. Chair all the way forward. Come back around. Your armrests do have these cranks in it right here. If I crank that down, or if I crank it up, you can adjust where you want this armrest to sit. So they are adjustable armrests, driver's side and passenger side. All right, up front here. So we'll start in the driver's door over here. Driver's door, you do have a lock button here for locking doors. We have window controls, which this is driver, passenger side. Then we have mirror controls. So this here is actually folding your mirrors in. This here will control all of your mirrors. So these top 2 arrows, we're going to set the arrow on this knob to whatever one we want to do. The top 2 arrows will control the top mirror, the big mirror outside. The bottom 2 arrows are going to control the blind spot mirror on the bottom. So you do have control of all your mirrors, which is nice. Up front, kind of hard to see here probably, but you do have a mode button here and then arrows. That's going to take you through all of your in-dash options. So fuel range, trip, odometer readings, that's how we check all that stuff is right there. Down below that, down in this little cubby here, there is a battery boost button. So underneath there, what that is for is if we ever drain our chassis battery, say we left our lights on, did something to drain that chassis battery, now we can jump our chassis battery off of our 2 house batteries. You're just going to hold that button in, then turn your key over. Just works as a jump start. Pretty much jump starts off your own unit, which is kind of nice. Pretty much not supposed to leave you stranded. Okay, up above that here, we have all of your light controls. So that'd be your brights, your dims. Your blinkers are going to be up and down. Brights and dims, you're going to click it. And then if I twist it, it actually turns your lights on and off. Down below that, there's a little handle down here that's your cruise control. So you have resume on the end. We have set up. And then that's going to be your cell. And this push it down will be decel. And then to turn it on, you're going to twist this little knob in the middle. So if I turn that on, that turns my cruise on, and now you can set a cruise. Front of your steering wheel, you do have all your hands-free calling options. We can mute the radio, hands-free calling there, volume, scrolling through stations, and then answer and hang a call up there. Horn in the middle. On the right side here, down in this little cubby down here, we have an auxiliary port and a USB port. So that's for charging phones. Any of that stuff under there. All of our windshield wipers are on the right side of the steering wheel. Down is actually going to be the faster speed you want. And then you can adjust the intermittency of those wipers with the crank on there. Pull it towards you to get the fluid for washing your windshield. And then this is actually where we can reset your trip on this end there for up on your dash. Coming into the middle, you have cup holders down low. We have shifter here, which we do have a tow haul option. Really nice feature because we can use that going down hills, mountains, any of that stuff. Kind of uses your engine to help brake you. Shifting is going to shift just like it shows here. Over, down. First is going to be reverse, then neutral, and then drive is last. After we get down to drive, I can hit it sideways and then go up and down if I want to paddle shift. So if you want to shift manually, that's how you do it. Go all the way down to drive, click it towards the steering wheel, and then now you can manually shift. And it will show you what gear you're in up on the dash. All right, in the middle here, we have fog lights is our first button here. The ESC is actually your traction control. You have the option of shutting it off. Why you would ever shut that off is if we were stuck in the mud, if we were stuck in snow, sand, it's actually going to allow your tires to actually spin and try to get out. If you leave that on, it actually gears the rotation of your tires to match each other, so you'll actually see your tires barely moving. So if you ever get stuck in that, shut that off. It'll give you a big warning up in your dash that you did shut traction control off. And the next time you cycle your key on and off, it resets, or you can shut it off here. You have your four-way hazards here, and then we have another door lock switch here. We have a USB port for charging, and then we have a 12-volt DC port there for charging. Cup holder. You have your climate control in the middle. Your first one's going to be your fan speeds, and if I push the middle, that's your recirculation. So we're only bringing, or you have the choice of bringing fresh air in or only recirculating the air inside. Next one over is your thermostat, and again, you're setting everything with this little white knob or dot at top. So that's hotter or colder that you want in the coach. AC controls in the middle. And then over here, you have all your vent controls from defrost to putting it on your feet, to coming out the middle. And then if I push the middle, that is actually your defrost. All right, up above that, I'm actually going to turn the key on here. Okay, so up above that, starting with on the radio here, you have your eject button up top here. That's going to be for your CDs. We can turn the screen on or off here. And then, so you can shut that screen on or off. Then you just have to touch the screen to bring it back on or push that button again. This one will mute the system. You have your volume control here. Go right or left on that. Power for the radio. On the right side here, we have settings. So that will take you through all the settings, you know, voice settings, clock, date. And setting the clock and date here will actually change your clock and date on your dash also. So you do have to set it through the radio to change it on the dash. Next one down is the back button. Just takes you back through when you're scrolling through things. Next one down is actually your tuning. So that's how we tune through stations, or we can scroll through our menu options. Browse and enter just enters one of the options. All right, down below we have 5 buttons here. The first one on the left will take me back to the radio. So the radio, we have presets on the top. Tells you what station you're on and what preset that's set to. You have tuning here in the middle. And again, it's touchscreen, so just touch them to tune. Down here is how we choose what we want to listen to, AM, FM, or Sirius XM. Alright, next button over is media. There's no media device available, so nothing's hooked into it. Navigation's the next one over. So if you ever used a navigation, this is a lot like it. Really easy to use. What we're going to do is just push drive to. Then it's going to start. You can add, or it asks if you want to go home. If you have a home address set in there, maybe you have some favorites set up, just push favorites and then that will take you to the favorite spot. Address, now we can type an address in. So I would just push that, type my address in, and then it will take you there. Recent destinations, just going to show you kind of a history of where you've been and stuff. Points of interest, that's going to actually just show you, you know, points of interest near you, near your city, or near home. So you can choose where you want to look from. So if I want to look from where I'm sitting right now, I can click on it. Now you can search by name. You can look for a gas station, restaurant, hotel, motel, or parking lot. There are more here. So I go to more, there's a bunch more on here. Airports, you know, beaches, pretty much whatever you're trying to find in that area or on your route you can find on this system, which is really nice. Back. Okay, now back to here. Turning off voice guidance. You can shut that voice off if you don't want the voice controlled. settings is just settings of your navigation, you know, brightness, dimness, all that kind of settings are in there. Help if you need help, and then done, we can click there. You can drive to, again, touch the address, type your address in. Really easy to use. Alright, phone is going to be for your Bluetooth. So I'll just push that phone button. It's searching for paired devices. So grab your phone, then go into your Bluetooth, search for this device, and then if it asks you for a code, just make sure those codes are the same, and then say OK on your phone, and then your phone will pair to this system. Then we have full option of using our hands-free calling. We can stream music through that point. So a nice feature of the radio there. Then we have more. If I go to the more, we can bring up a clock, a compass, or the trips. So these are your trips off your dash. So this is where we can reset trip A also, trip B, current trip. There's 3 trips that you have the option of setting or resetting. Alright, so over here, up top, pull that up. We do have a glove box up top here. And then you do also have one down low here. A little bit of storage in the middle. On the passenger side, you do have control of that window on that side. Alright, up above me, we do have, you know, your normal visors. Just pull down, pull them off, take them to the side, clip them back in place, fold up. You have control of all your dome lights up here. Visor on your passenger side also. And then we also have assistant handles on both sides to assist getting in and out. Alright, so on your key-wise, that's going to flip open. That's your Dodge key there. We're starting. We have unlock and lock your front doors, and then that bottom one's lock and unlock your rear doors. And then you can push that button again, fold it in, just make it a little tighter there. Also up here, braking periods, we usually say 1,000 miles. No towing for that first 1,000 miles, no heavy towing. They want normal acceleration, normal deceleration. So they just don't want you taking off really fast, burning your tires out, any of that. They want slow stops, they want slow takeoffs. The main thing is that we're not on the interstate setting a cruise at 70 and staying there for 4 hours. We want to vary those speeds. So I mean, if you don't use your cruise, your foot itself is probably going to vary those speeds enough for that first 1,000 miles. But if you are going to use your cruise a lot, they recommend pulling off on an off ramp, you know, slowing all the way down, getting back on every hour or so, just to vary those speeds. On the ProMaster chassis, it's 10,000 miles on the oil change. We recommend doing it every year. So do it every year, kind of make it part of your maintenance thing. So just do generator and chassis oil changes at least once a year. The more we take care of these engines, I mean, they're going to run better for you. Also, on any Winnebago chassis, Winnebago recommends that we do get an alignment after we have that braking period done, and we fill it with all our stuff. So we have all our weight, how we're going to use it. Go get an alignment. It's just going to make your tires, everything, last a lot longer. Okay, well, we'll head outside now and we'll go through all the outside stuff. Okay, right inside the door here. Couple things. So starting up high here, we have this first switch is actually for your undermounted LED lights. So it's actually under the step there. The next one over is your chassis disconnect. Kind of an important switch. This will disconnect both chassis batteries if we're in storage. That's pretty much what that switch is for, is storage. If for some reason you ever see your battery voltage dropping and you're plugged in or running down the road or anything, you know what, that probably got bumped. So make sure you come back here and turn that on. You'll hear a click. That green light's always going to be on if you're plugged in. So make sure you do hear that click and your batteries are on, so they are charging. But if you are going to store it, let's do disconnect that, because that shuts everything off back here as long as we're not plugged in. Then that will stop it from any parasitic draws on our batteries. So next time you come, your batteries are going to be good. You don't have to worry about them being dead or anything. Down below that is 110 volt. This is your GFCI breaker. So there is a reset button in the middle, and there is also a test button. Pretty much a rule of thumb is if you don't see that green light, that means it's tripped. That means a lot of plugins in our coach won't work. Anytime we're within 6 feet of water, we protect it with that GFI. So if you have plugins not working, come to this GFI first and check that. Down below that's our awning controls. So first control here, in and out on the awning. I'm gonna hold that out. Hold it for about 2 seconds. It actually is an automatic awning, so it will come out and stop once it gets out all the way. Also in your awning, there is a feature, if I go to put this awning out and I have the engine running, it will not come out. It will go in if the engine's running, but won't come back out. So if you do have the engine running and you're trying to put this out, it's not gonna work. Okay, so it came out all the way, stopped on its own. Your awning does have a wind sensor in it. So if it does hit too hard for it to wind, it does take quite a bit of wind to bring this in. So quite a bit of wind hitting that will actually bring it in automatically. And again, it's a good breeze that's gonna take to put this in. Best rule of thumb, if you do leave your coach, let's put your awning in. Don't leave it out, don't take a chance. You know, don't rely on that wind sensor because it could be a big gust. And you know what, this won't react fast enough if it's a big gust. So let's just put it in if we leave our coach or if it gets too windy. So it's gonna go in automatically. The other thing we have is there's a switch right beside your awning switch. And that's gonna be for your awning lights, on or off. It does give you a green light, which is gonna be your LED strip lighting actually on the end of your awning. That's on and off for that. Really nice at night. It will light this all up really nicely. All right. Inside here we have your fire extinguisher. You know, easy access from the outside, from the inside. Fire, you have an emergency. Just pull that black tab, pops it off, grab it, pull the pin, squeeze the trigger, aim for the base of the fire. All right, we also have your screen, which just slides across. You know, just take 2 hands, come across, and push it tight against that side. You know, by using 2 hands, it just keeps it on track a lot better. If I grab one hand down low, it ends up kicking. So just use 2 hands and slide it across. Same thing going back, 2 hands. Just try to keep even pressure going across. All right. So in your sliding door, the main thing about these sliding doors is you don't want to just barely close it, because a lot of times it won't close in the back. So we do want to close these, you know, don't be scared to actually close it pretty hard. Because if we don't close this hard, it's going to give you a warning on your dash, and it's going to show your camera all the time on your radio. So make sure you get this door closed. Same with the rear doors. We want to close those, make sure they're closed tight. All right, moving back. Up high, you got your 2 marine grade speakers. So that's for your entertainment system inside. That was that C speaker. If you want to play radio or anything out here, you have your LED light. The switch for that is actually up top. If you go right in the door, it's up top on the cabinet right to your left. Down below that, we do have a portable solar panel hookup. So this is if you want a second solar panel other than your 100-watt one up on the roof, we can plug into that. The main thing is with this one is we're going to want to make sure we have the right solar panel. It's got to correspond with our controller that we have inside, not be too big for that controller we have inside. So definitely check if you have the right solar panel and right features pretty much. All right, here we have coax hookup and a 12-volt hookup. This is if we want to put a TV outside. So we can either put a 12-volt TV or a 110 TV, hook the coax here, and then that is pre-wired into your antenna. So if you want off-air antenna, we can put a TV out here. And again, you'll have to do your channel search on that TV that you do put out here. All right, coming around to the back. Okay, so in the back here, up high is your camera. Camera sits above the doors there, is non-adjustable. It's set already to the pitch that it's set to. We do have an LED light up high, which is controlled with the switch that's actually right down here low. We have a 110 plug-in. A 110 plug-in out back here. We have a 12 volt hookup here. Again, that's your light for the LED light above. We have a second water pump switch. So again, that's drawing water out of your freshwater tank. Both switches work independently. So I can turn it on here, shut it off inside, turn it back on out here. Doesn't matter where I turn it on and off at. And then we have one more switch that's not labeled on the right side here, and that's going to be for your LED porch light on your driver's side. Here we have a remote hookup for outside water, and that's going to be what this sprayer is for here. So that sprayer is just a quick connect. It's almost like a air hose pretty much. You're just going to push that in. It's going to clip into place just like that, and then we can spray. It's going to be cold water only out here. Again, it's just a garden hose sprayer. This is one fitting we really want to hit when we winterize. So we do winterize, whether you're going to blow it out or pump an RV antifreeze through the whole thing, make sure you hook this hose up, spray it out either till you got pink coming out or good air coming out. And then when you're done, unhook it and make sure we drain this hose, because it will hold water, will freeze and break. So make sure we do winterize that hose. Other thing we do have under here is we do have a 10-foot sewer hose, which they do make storage for it on the driver's side. You have all of your tire tools. There's a jack in there and all of the tire tools needed. Next is you have an air pump. So what this is for, a couple different settings. So the first one here, it's got a tire with a nail in it. That's for fix-a-flat. So they do send fix-a-flat with. And if we want to use fix-a-flat, or if we get a nail or something in our tires, what it is, there's two different hoses. We have a clear hose that has a picture, that same picture on it, and then we have a black hose that's just for filling tires. So that's the other setting on top here. So that's just if we want to air tires up, whether it's bike tires, your normal tires on the side here. But that's what that setting's for. We have a power button there. It's going to tell you how much PSI it has. And then if we do use fix-a-flat, don't go over 50 miles per hour. That's what they recommend. Get to the nearest station, get it fixed. So that's kind of a nice feature. Again, trying not to let you be stranded. All right, 4-pin connector on the back. You have 350 pounds of ton weight on the back for towing. All right, moving to the side. So coming around to the driver's side here. All right, so up above is that LED light we were talking about, and that control is again on the back door, or inside the back door by the water pump switch. Coming down lower, right here we have a black tank Santa flush. So that's plumbed into your black tank. What that's for is it's just going to help flush solids out, keep your tanks clean, and that's kind of important to do as many times as you possibly can. I mean, if you have the chance to do it every time you dump, do it, because it's going to help keep that tank clean, help keep it so our sensors can read everything normal, so we don't get a buildup on the side of the tanks. All we do is hook a hose up to it. Use a different hose than your normal water hose. There are check valves and stuff in there, but I'd hate for one of those to fail. So get a different color hose that you're going to use for this. Right down below is our dump station. So down here, we're just going to take that cap off. We're going to hook that sewer hose up to here. And again, a lot of people get different sewer hose. That 10-foot one, you have to get pretty close to those dump stations. So a lot of people will buy, a 20-foot one at least. We sell a lot of hoses here. Rhino's really good. A lot of people buy Rhino hoses. But the 20-foot gives you the option of permanent sewers. You don't have to get quite so close. You'll just have to get a Rubbermaid container, store it in the back. Your dump stations, or your dump controls are actually on the back side here. So black tank dump is back up there. It's the long handle coming out. And the gray tank is labeled there also. So we always dump the black tank first. Let's get rid of those solids, get that out. The gray tank's a little bit cleaner of water, helps flush that hose out, clean the hose for you. But those are T-handles, so you're just gonna pull straight up. Once you hear the water all done, you're done with all your flushing. Then we can push those handles back in, put the cap back on, and you're done. Down here is our generator exhaust. The generator is located in the middle of the rear of your coach. So oil changes, everything are done from underneath. Okay, moving forward, we have your Truma exhaust here. This is where we're going to exhaust all the LP fumes. And that's all coming out of there. Again, that gets really hot, so be careful what you lean up against it. Over here we have 2 ports. They're both labeled. Tank fill is the back port. City fill is the front port. So tank fill is exactly what it says. Fill in your freshwater tank. So if we want to top our freshwater tank off or fill it from start, that's what we're going to hook up to. You can look at your gauge inside when you're full, or we can just listen for it because there is an overflow on the tank. You'll hear it pouring on the ground. Then you're full. Next one over, city fill. This is if the resort offers water. What we're going to do is hook up to this. Now we don't use our water pump. We're going to use the pressure from that hose. We'll take the pressure from the hose, and that's how we feed our sink, showers. That's how we feed everything. But just remember, if you want to fill your tank, we got to take it off there, hook back up to there. Next one over is sewer hose storage. So again, this is where that 10-foot sewer hose is going to fit. Goes back, just quarter turn. All right, down underneath here. So right here it just says freshwater drains. It's going to show you what open is and what close is. So what we have is we have 2 low points there, and then we also have your freshwater tank drain. So there's 3 valves underneath here. Just turn them direction they show there to drain. The 2 low points are just helping get water out of your system, helps drain the hot water lines, cold water lines, and then your freshwater tank drain will drain all the fresh water out. Next one over is actually our LP filling station. So right here, you just take that cap off. Again, someone certified is gonna do this for you. So you don't have to worry so much about this, but this is the fill station. 80% outage valve. They're gonna open this up till a liquid comes out pretty much. But right above that is your master switch. So it does have an on and off on it. So that's controlling all the LP to your coach. Again, it works with that switch that's inside. Both switches have to be on. If you ever just get filled and for some reason none of your appliances are working, come check this because they might have left this switch off. Just make sure that's turned back on. All right, up above that is your 30 amp cord. This comes with the coach. What it is, it's got this little retainer on it. That actually screws onto the coach. So we're gonna line the tabs up with the tabs in there. So go in and give it a little turn. And then what we're gonna do is screw this on, and that's gonna hold it in place. That's what's gonna hold it to your coach so it's not falling off with any wind, someone tripping over it, any of that stuff. The other end over here is gonna look just like that. So that's the end of your 30 amp cord. Be very cautious what we plug this into. So if you go to someone's house and they have a plug that looks like this, probably don't plug into it unless they are for sure it's an RV plug. Because if we do plug this coach into 240 volt, we're gonna do a lot of damage inside. Again, that's where some kind of surge protection definitely helps. I would have, in this case, I'd have a portable surge protector plugged in here. It's gonna protect you from accidentally doing that. Or if the resort has, a bad pole or bad power, it's gonna protect you from that. It's gonna save you, thousands of dollars in the long run. For a little investment to start with, can save you a lot of money. Also, the other thing is adapters. I would always carry a 50, which is gonna look like that, to a 30 adapter. This is gonna allow, actually, this is reversed. So what it would be is I'd have the 50 plug up here, and then I'd have the 30 female here that my cord would plug into. But I would always carry one of those with you because you never know. You get to a resort and all they have is 50 amps. If you don't have the adapter with you, you can't plug into it. So carry that adapter with you. Another adapter is going to be a 30 to 20 adapter. So that takes you from your cord down to just a normal house plug-in. So it allows you to plug into your own house, plug into, anywhere you need to. Just be cautious. When we plug into 20 amps, be cautious what we run. Sometimes, you might have trouble running your AC. Don't try to run a ton of power on 20 amps. Just be cautious on that. Okay, moving forward. So right beside your plug-in, you do have a coax hookup. Now this is coax in. So this is if the resort offers coax, we hook it up, and then that will feed our TV and also our exterior hookup on the other side. All right, so driver's door, fuel tank, pop that open, cap right there. Close. Right around the corner is actually, we do have tire pressures there, we do have Winnebago serial numbers, everything around the corner here. Right beside that is your parking brake is here on the left side of your driver's seat. So just lift up to set it, lift up, push the button in to reset it. All right, around the corner here is your hood release. Then you do also have a cup holder and a little bit of storage in your driver's door and passenger door also. All right, after we release the hood, we'll head up front. Okay, so right in the middle, you're trying to lift up, you're pulling up on that yellow handle is what you're trying to do. It's a secondary release. We do have a hood prop here. This goes on the right side. Clip it in place. All right, first thing we have. Our battery isn't located up here underneath the hood. It's actually underneath the floor by the driver's seat there. So they give us a remote terminal. So if we need to jump somebody or they need to jump us, we can do it from here. This here, under this cap, it actually has a positive sign on it. So this is your positive hookup right there. This one up front here is considered your ground star. So put the ground there, positive there, then we can jump somebody or they can jump us. Right beside that is also going to be your relays, fuses for the Dodge part of it. Brake fluid is up here. It's a clear liquid. You can see there's max levels. If you just kind of hit it, you'll see that liquid sloshing around in there. You'll know how much you have. Coolant is right beside that. Again, you have minimum and maximum here. Be careful on that because it matters if the engine's running or if it's cold. You know, if it's cold, you're going to probably be down at the minimum. If it's running and hot, it's probably going to be up at the maximum. So if you are running your engine a lot, don't fill it. Don't fill it too full. You don't want it because otherwise you're going to overfill it. Just makes a mess. All right, so right here, so down left side here, we do have your oil dipstick, which is right down here. And then we do have your oil fill, which is right here. All right, beside that, up here on top, the yellow cap is your windshield washer fluid. And then down below that is your power steering fluid. So anyway, just keep open your fluids. Make sure we're checking them often. Make sure they're not getting low. Get all of it, you know, maintenance every year. Gone through, just checked. Make sure everything's good. Close, push down to close the rest. All right. Also, in your tire kit in the back or your tools, there is a bar that will screw underneath this plate. You'll pop this plate out, screws in there. If we ever break down or need to flat tow this, just with a chain or anything, we screw that bar in there, hook onto it, and then we can pull it off the interstate or pull it off if we broke down. Because there really is no good place to hook onto this up front with chains or anything. You'll end up ripping bumpers off of that. So if you ever need to, utilize that bar that's back there. All right, passenger side. Okay, on the door, again, we have that storage cup holder. Sticker here is going to give you your combined weight. So we want to stick to that combined weight. That's what this chassis is rated for. That's how much weight it can handle with people, cargo, and water weight. Everything else is figured into it. So based on that number, 1,923 pounds is what we can handle on this chassis. And again, that's your people, cargo, and water. They do tell you what a full tank of water weighs. It's 216 pounds. So if we are driving down the road with a full tank of water, take 216 pounds off of that 1923, and then that's what we can have of people and cargo in this coach. Well, that's about it. I guess the other thing is back to maintenance and stuff. Again, we want to get on that roof and we're going to check the seals, you know, check everything over. If you're using it a lot, walk around every so often, get up on that roof, look, make sure we don't have voids, cracks, anything in there. Again, once a year I would take it in, have somebody go through it, some kind of dealer, bring it back to us, we'll go through it, any of that stuff, we'll give you a seal inspection, check everything over, but make sure we are taking care of it. It is a big investment. So I hope you enjoyed the video.